Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to give my predictions for this year's Invictus. Now, the show floor is available on PTU as well as the Idris tour. So now that we kind of see what some of the stands look like and what the Idris tour is like, kind of wanted to give my 2 cents and say what ships I think are going to be available this year, and I have them all kind of laid out. So this is just going to be kind of a quick video going over what I think we're going to see this year. So to start things off, I want to go right at the top of this list here with the Idris. Now, the keen-eyed observer probably noticed that the Idris is a little bit different this year than in past years. It has a few key changes that I think are very interesting. Okay, first of all, does not have the major railgun, the size 10 railgun at the front. This is a huge change. It's just kind of flat at the bottom. Second major change is that the ramp at the back now works, right? So it's a huge ramp. You can be able to drive up into the Idris hangar where all of the ships are supposed to land in. The next major change is that there are components along the walls of the internal hangar. Of course, this is very necessary for engineering that's coming up. And then we also have a new turret at the back here, on the bottom, on the underside of this area at the back, a manned turret. The next thing we have is this area at the front, that is the missile room on the Idris M, is a additional cargo area. So many people are saying that this is the Idris P, the civilian variant. But why would we be touring the Idris P instead of the military variant during a military event like Fleet Week? My personal opinion, it might signal that the players are going to get access to the Idris P sooner than Squadron 42. I know CIG has said that a lot of the capitals are not coming until Squadron 42 comes out, but that just might mean the Javelin, because typically during Invictus we have a Javelin tour. Last Invictus they added the Idris tour, but of course it wasn't fully fleshed out. Now it seems like the entire interior is finished, and we have these new differences between the Idris P and the Idris M. So again, this is just speculation, but the Idris would be too big to fit in the showroom floor. So where else would they have it displayed? Well, they would have it displayed outside where you can tour it just like any other ship. Remember, during these events, they have ships on display for you to tour and test out and even rent. And if the Idris can't fit in the show floor, where are you going to go to rent it? Well, you're probably going to need to go to where the tour area is. So again, this is just a theory. I'm not saying that we are going to get access to the Idris, but it would be kind of cool if CIG did a similar thing that they did with the Polaris, where it was in the show floor, but you couldn't go there and check it out. So we might have an opportunity to take a look at this ship that the players will get, even if we don't get it during this Fleet Week. We might get it during IE or something like that, or maybe even next year's Fleet Week. But I think it is really interesting that they decided to open up the tours to the civilian variant instead of the military variant. So next, if you go into the show floor, there are some kind of main display areas, right? And so the primary kind of display stand is basically a MISC stand, right? And the primary MISC ship that we know that is a military variant of a ship is going to be the Starlance Attack. So my prediction is that that stand is going to have the Starlance Attack, right? And then at the front, there are two other stands. I believe there's going to be the MTC Grey Cat and the Guardian MX. This was kind of data mined. These ships are, pretty far along. So I think it's kind of safe to say, I can't think of any other Mirai ships that are going to become available. Same thing with Grey Cat, right? So the MTC's the mobile command vehicle or something like that. There's not too much information on this ground vehicle. Really not sure what this ground vehicle is going to be focused on. Um, Potentially, it's going to be the start of base building, because I know that that's kind of been the direction that they wanted to go in when they were showing base building. So I don't know, perhaps this can build and deploy a little berm or something like that that you can hide and make cover behind. Maybe you can drop a little building where you can do whatever you want. I really have no idea what this ground vehicle is going to be capable of. This is going to be an interesting ground vehicle. That's all I have to say, because CIG has been very tight-lipped about it, and if it's not important, I don't know. They've been trying to surprise us this year with stuff like the Golem, so it's a welcome addition. Then the Mirai Guardian MX. This is supposedly, a missile variant of the Guardian. We have the standard Guardian, then we have the QI, the quantum interdiction version. So the missile version makes sense because the Fury has the missile version as well. So 3 Guardian versions, 3 Fury versions. So that kind of makes sense. Nothing crazy there. Then there is, at the back of the hall, there is a Super Hornet, and on the side of the Super Hornet, there's another kind of staging area. Now, a lot of people are saying that potentially this could be for the Anvil Asgard, and there's potential for that. Again, there is the audio logs, and it doesn't seem like there is a kind of hollow area. Normally during these events they have a holographic room where we can see ships and vehicles that are on concept but are not flyable. Right now all of these stands are available, so all of the ships that we're talking about are going to be straight to flyable, right? So the Asgard, whatever it is going to be a straight to flyable vehicle. Now I have the Paladin up here because this is another ship that a lot of people have kind of spoken about is possible to come out during Invictus. So in my personal opinion, it's kind of 50-50, right? Where some people have said that, the Asgard might be a ground vehicle that, that has, I recently watched Guardian's video, really good video. You guys should go check it out. He walks through the entire show floor and kind of runs through all of the different stands. I'll put a link to that video in the video description if you guys want to see the show floor for yourselves. And it could be either one of these two, in my personal opinion, right? So a lot of people have been speculated that the Asgard is like a Valkyrie variant, a heavy transport vehicle. A cool possibility here is that it's those transport vehicles in Star Wars The Clone Wars where they kind of drop the walkers. It's something like that where maybe it has the vehicle kind of suspended from the bottom of it, then it kind of flies down, drops the ground vehicle and flies off again, instead of having like a dedicated vehicle bay that a vehicle has to drive in. Maybe this ship kind of holds up the tank or ballista or whatever using some kind of mag plate technology, like a crane kind of grabs it. My imagination's crazy. So it could be anything really. And then I have the ballista here because if you look in the ground vehicle room, right, there are 2 tanks and a big space in the middle. So I think that's going to be potentially another ground vehicle on the Atlas platform, same as the Ballista, Centurion, and the Spartan. Alright, so I also have the Ironclad the Apollo, and the Perseus here. These 3 ships were the other 3 ships that people were speculating we could see at Invictus, but honestly, I think these are very large ships, especially the Ironclad and the Perseus. It would be very difficult for CIG to get them ready in time for Invictus. It would be very cool if we got the Perseus then, but kind of like what they did with the Polaris, more than likely it might come at the end of the year with the Ironclad and even the Pioneer, right? So those are the main ships that CIG kind of teased at the end of CitizenCon last year. They gave us a little sneak peek of all the ship silhouettes that they're working on for the next 12 months. And these ships were amongst them. Now, CIG could always, you know, sprinkle these ships out throughout the year, but I think it makes sense for them to release it at an event like IAE. Very cool ships, but again, very difficult to make and release. Another thing that I think is interesting is if they are working on the Pioneer, right, for this year, allegedly, maybe that MTC really is kind of the first phase of base building. Again, wild speculation here, but it's possible. But yeah, that's kind of what I think might happen, what ships might show up at Invictus. I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. What ships do you think are going to be on the show floor? Do you think this guesstimation is right on the money, or do you think that you know, we might not see any of this stuff, or do you think that we will see you know, ships like the Perseus, but they just might show up on different days of Invictus, right? As more access to the showroom becomes available, different days might have different ships, right? If that is the case as well, that's going to be a lot of ships for the players to have to go through and consider buying. Again, you might run into kind of buyer's fatigue. There's too many options. There are too many ships that are available at one time. So I really hope that CIG does kind of narrow it down a little bit, you know, having these big expensive ships all available at the same time is kind of a lot to go through. But that's going to be it for me in this video. Thanks guys for hanging out with me again. Like I always say at the end of these videos, you guys like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Salute.